We unfortunately lost a great man and a legend life figure in the lives and Gerald Callahan over this month. And Gerald did nothing more than a livestock judging contest. And he had a vision to start this one and was adamant we were going to have one during the COVID year. And the first thing that he turned to fund this event, and if you've judged here before, you've seen the college kids, it's been funded by Gary and Kathy Buckholz, GKB Cattle. And the day after Gerald passed away, Gary and Kathy called me and they said, we're going to endow this judging contest to make it one of the most elite in the country in terms of awards and opportunities for the young people. But we want to name it in honor of our great friend Gerald Callahan. So from now on, we're always going to have an elite judging contest here with elite and rewards for you young people. I'm going to continue to see it for us to get more progressive in what we do and encourage you all because you all really are the future. We're going to have you in this industry. So if you get an opportunity, thank Gary and Kathy Buckholz as you see them throughout the year because they make this possible and are going to ensure it's possible forever. I think Mark told y'all last night, 100 years from now, we're still going to be having this livestock judging contest because it's funded. So give Gary and Kathy a nice round of applause, and I'll turn it right back over to Mark.
Thank you, Tyler. And with that, we're going to go through the critique. It was found that these are educational, beneficial to the land and get you some exposure to some to the species here today. Start on sheep and goat division. Ken Hoffman is our coordinator chairman of the committee. Ken is going to introduce the respective and finishing through and getting official pricings on the sheep and goats. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Always a great pleasure to get to come and work with you guys and listen from year to year and see what you guys have learned and what you hadn't learned and what we need to work on. A lot of fun today. Got to listen to the does on the senior college side, and as you'll find out when Brady gets up here and talks about them, I probably didn't agree with the majority of you, but it's all right. We'll tell you what we saw. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the weather dam classes real quick. Hold on just a second. Let me find my deal. We'll start with class 1, the weather dam use. Kind of come up to that class. There's a lot of different types and kinds and colors and different things to kind of sort through there. We thought the easy thing to do is as soon as they set those things into motion, that's when things start to kind of break down. They really separate themselves. We felt like that when we move those sheep, the one that kind of falls out of bed is the 3U. Just in terms of build and balance, that one just didn't kind of fit the mold. She's a little more upright in the angle of her shoulder and her hock, and consequently she gets a little short-strided. Then when you really break them down just in terms of body shape, she probably ranks a distant 4 in amongst her contemporaries there. Just as easy to move that one down to the bottom. We think to go ahead and find that 2U and just run with that one's kind. That's good livestock there. I think when you talk about just making elite kind of females that can go on and propagate some high quality and high dollar progeny, that's the kind we're after. She's up off the ground, just up and out everywhere. Freaky up front, big pipes down low, moves sound as a cat, still stays level, and then we still think that she ranks out amongst the top 2 just in terms of body, width, and power. Then within the middle pair, I think that's probably where we had the most debate, and I really don't even know if we did. Amongst the 2, you've got the one that's a little more moderate, a little more just kind of dense and compacted, and not necessarily in a conventional kind of way, but just a little more moderate and mature size, but she kind of matches with the pattern of the one that wins, just in terms of one that's being really flexible, really good in terms of her joints. Then the alternative to that is the dark fibered one down there on the end, and that thing is just extremely massive. I'd call her the class leader in terms of width and body, just skeletal dimension overall from every angle. That one kind of holds the key there. The problem there is that one wild enough looking up through the front third of her body? Within this particular pair, we thought that the differences in terms of width and body were a little more than the skeletal differences, so we go 4-1 in the middle. So we end up running class 1 weather dams 2-4, 1-3. We cut them 4, 2, and 6. Now we'll move on. I'll talk about the class 7 weather dams number 2. We thought that this class got extremely hard, and there was a lot of debate amongst the committee there. So I'll kind of break them down as how we see them. Probably the easiest thing to do when we come up to the class is find the number 1U. We run that one to the bottom and cut your sticks there. While that one probably as an individual is an extremely high quality kind of female that's built right, she's just a distant fourth in terms of performance and power. So we just went ahead and didn't make the fight that hard. We kind of run that U to the bottom. She's probably a little plainer on a comparative note. Couple that, like I said, with the fact that she's the lowest performing and probably just the narrowest underneath. We just dropped that one in 4. Then the debate starts. What do you do there? What do you see? I'm just going to kind of talk in the number order there. I think as you study 2, I think that one is maybe the generator of the bunch, just in terms of making high quality, just high end, high dollar value progeny. I think that one reads with some of those pieces. When that one gets out and goes, she kind of fights the stand just a little bit while they're trying to show her she wanted to kind of duck her head a little bit. But when you put those things into motion, that one kind of shines. Just in terms of how she's put together, really gets out and grabs her stride. She stays really neat and true there in her spine. But the problem there is that one may actually be the most closed up underneath of any of the 4 in class. So there's some debating what to do there. When we move down to 3, she's on the opposite end of the spectrum. She's the one that's the most cracked open. She's the boldest bodied. She's the biggest ended. She's the biggest muscled. Love all those things about her. Of those 3 that we've got left, she's easily the one that's the most plain to look at from the side. She's the lowest tying in terms of her neck. Just doesn't hit you with a lot of wow factor outside of the fact that she's the widest skeleton. Then we get to the sheep on the end, and that's probably the one that's the hardest to punch a hole in. Just maybe doesn't wow you in any one regard, but when you really start to break down just the fundamentals, there's not a whole lot wrong with that one. As we studied and discussed amongst the committee, like I said, we land on the one that's probably the hardest to knock a hole in, and we'll start with 4. After that, we go with the generator in 2 and follow up with 3. So we got 4, 2, 3, 1 with cuts of 2, 2, and 6. Next up, I'm going to have John Romero come up here. John's going to talk to you about the senior college market lambs. For those of you who don't know John, John is from Orlando, Oklahoma, via the great state of Georgia. I think that John works there at Pfeiffer Farms, some good friends of ours, and I think John's one of the more valuable assets to that program there, and one of the best young show judges that we've got in the goat business right now, and a pretty good hand at sheep too. I think he's a real talent. So I'll turn it over to John.
Thanks, Kate. Get to talk to senior college market lambs. Want to thank Darren Anashot for putting all those sheep classes together. Man, they turned out really, really nice, and I know it's a pretty thankless job. So shout out to him. We thought the senior college market lambs, man, really, really good class, and hopefully you senior college contestants appreciate it. And that trio we thought was maybe a little challenging. I guess some of these kids scrambled those top 3 probably a little bit more than ideal, but I think for the most part, everyone found one sheep that's extended, level spined, and hopefully that's about as much good you guys want to say about that particular sheep. Light muscled, off balanced, pretty fragile and petite, just the way that it was put together. If you don't find one, we'll cut you 4 there on the bottom. And then from there, hopefully the 4 sheep, there's one that you guys wanted to gravitate to, just in terms of genuine clearance down low, body shape, smoothness, stout pinned, big stifle shape. I thought that sheep just progression, very, very smooth, just very, very proportional. I think ideally we could probably make that thing just a little neater there in the base of his chest and make him just a little shorter. But again, we thought that one won that particular class pretty handily. From there, you're left with 2 and 3, and man, there's a few kids that probably got just a little higher on 3. really heavy structured, big forearm, lots of width, lots of shape, very good handling, high cutability kind of a sheep. Hopefully in motion, you guys were probably not a big a fan as him in terms of just his shoulder and his chest. His neck attachment was nowhere near good enough, and then want to relax him there in the middle of his back. But no doubt he had the juicy muscles. And then the sheep that was kind of colored up. They're awesome profiling, good looking. Bottom line was appropriate, very level there in terms of his top. Thought maybe one that could be just a little fresher, a little square there right over his loin edge in motion as well. I thought his hip could be just a little longer. He's a little vertical there in terms of his hind leg. But again, good looking, good profiling, had more than enough muscle there to go with it. So we like them 4-2-3-1 with cuts of 3, 5, and 4. Thank you guys for having me.
Next up, we'll talk the senior college market lambs. We've got Brandon Morgan here. Brandon is the ag teacher at Newcastle, just outside of town here. Brandon's kind of a world-renowned sheep and goat judge. He's kind of done everything there is to do. I know for sure in the goat ring. It's an honor to have him here, and he'll spit some wisdom at you.
Well, thank you, Kate. We thought that the junior college market lamb class really sorted out and you had a logical thing to do. And then we had thought that there was 3 sheep that were, placeable, but there were certainly some differences in them. And I know that you will definitely see in your reason scores, if you could describe those differences, it certainly reflected upon that. We felt like the easiest thing to do, though, was definitely find the 2 sheep, and as a whole, I would say about 95% of the contest did, and that sheep is just not right in terms of his quality and his build. Not only is that sheep off in terms of his top line, and he gets a little bit rougher in his shoulder, but that's easily the narrowest, flattest made sheep, and we thought that one was a very sensible bottom. The top 3 there, as we thought, were placed, but I think there's some differences again, and I'll just talk about them one at a time. The number 1 sheep, when you come in and you see him, we thought that sheep, obviously, you don't have to handle him to see the power and the muscling that he has. And then when you go in and you put your hands on him, he's easily the hardest to the touch on the top side of his skeleton. He's easily the widest and the boldest all the way through when you just study about natural rib shape. And you can come in and tell me he's not the longest neck, and I will agree with you on that. But that sheep's good balance because he's proportional when you look at him in every way. And so, and then I thought that sheep, and we thought when you get him off the stand and you come out in motion, that's where he held his composure well and kind of looked the same way that he did in the rack. And I think for the other 2, I think that they looked a little bit different standing there on the rack as you did when you bring them out and set them in motion. And I hope that, and I was listening for that. The number 3 sheep, that one's kind of a surpriser to me. When I walked up and I just first looked at him at a glance, you see a big, long, skinny neck. You see one that's fairly long, good in terms of length of body, and that one's got some width and some span to him, just in terms of just natural thickness all the way through. I think when you get on top of that one and you handle him, he's easily the softest sheep in class, and I think you were rewarded again today if you recognize that. And then maybe more importantly, when you put that sheep in motion, that's where his true tail comes out, and he really wants to fall apart in terms of his balance. He drops down in his shoulder, his chest floor falls out of him, he gets tight and restricted in his spine as he goes, and so he's definitely better standing still on the rack when you get him pulled out and set him in motion. The 4 sheep, the other blue sheep in there, he's the one I think is differing in kind. When I walked up to him, I see him as being elevated at the point of his shoulders, a sheep that's good looking from the side, but I don't like him when I study him down low. He wants to hawk in from behind. He don't look like he's really powerful from that standpoint. He's got a lot of leg hair on him. I don't know if he's any bigger footed than the rest of them, but when you get that sheep in motion and you pull him out, that sheep really improves himself. His balance comes together. He looks extra good on the walk. He gets his head up like you like it. And I think that their one, it makes a better case when he sets himself in motion. So we landed on a placing of 1, 4, 3, 2 with cuts of 2, 3, and 6. I would like to recognize 4 people today that were my high sets. Contestant 2019-6, 2021-1, 2001-4, and 2001-6. Thank you for having me.
Next up, we'll have Brady McComb come up and talk about maybe the most controversial class of the day. Brady hails from Pratt, Kansas, where he works there on this family farm, putting together a nice show career for his sister, and sounds like Doctor and Wheat Pasture cattle in the snow this week. So it's a pleasure to have Brady here with us today. I'll just go ahead and everybody just keep your rocks in your pockets and don't throw them too hard up here, because like I said, a pretty controversial class. And I'd venture to say at your contest here in a couple days that you'll go to, the thought process is probably going to stay the same as it did today. So keep that in mind moving forward. But thanks to Brady, and thank all you guys for having us out today.
Thank you, Cade. Like you said, according to the contest, especially for me, listening to the junior college kids, definitely thought it was very controversial in how everybody saw them. For us, I guess, just to break them down as a committee, we thought there was one logical thing to do within that class, and that was to go ahead and start the one doe, kind of, the darker headed female. That one comes at you. She's stout in her skull. She's still really opened up and dimensional throughout. Maybe one if we were going to get critical on her, and a lot of people did, and some of us, I think, took it a little bit too far at times. Her, rear leg, her hock, and just her rear ankle, she doesn't quite flex the motor quite as, unique as a couple of them. But one, I thought that, or we thought as a committee, it was the most complete, had the most unique pieces, and just probably the most generating potential. But then from there, just a lot of sort with you kids coming through and talking. I heard a lot of different things and a lot of different descriptions. From there, we elected to go with the three doe to come out there in second. The spot backed female. One at first glance, you walk up, she's kind of the duller hided, flatter haired one. That's the frailest in terms of her foot size. I guess for us, when we started breaking that one down, and as we studied them harder, Kate, I think, said it best. She strikes us as really maternal in her kind. She's still really stout in her skull and good in her ears. From there, she's good in terms of her chest and underlying progression. Just a really good kind of fundamental female that we found a lot of value in as we started to break them down. From there, we elected to go towards the four doe there and to put it in third. A lot of people wanted to get really high on that one whenever they came in. That's the soft-haired, level-spined one that's really big in terms of her foot size and has that extra hair down low. But whenever we start studying that one, coming and going, she's definitely the most closed up there in terms of her chest, forerib, and all the way down to the ground. Just one we'd like to open up and just have more just dimension and punch. That one's also just with her kind. She's kind of the flat jawed, longer hair, or longer eared one, just not as opened up. Wish we could make her just more powerful throughout. Then to round out the class, we elected to use the Tudo. Again, a lot of people kind of wanted to tie into that one. That one's the wide chested, really stout made one. Just we thought it is just things progressed and went along. That one's too far forward in the angle of her shoulder. And consequently, that kind of makes her just not be able to utilize her hip and hind leg very well either. We'd like to reconstruct her on both ends of her skeleton, just allow her to get out and motor a little bit better. That's kind of where we fell into those. Like I said, we placed the class 1, 4, 3, 2, cut it 5, 3, and 2. And I'd like to thank the Piper crew as well for bringing the does to the contest today. They do a nice job in supporting this.
Hey, one correction on those breeding does. They are placed 1, 3, 4, 2, cuts of 5, 3, 2. Just wanted to clarify. With that, we're going to move into the swine division. Bobby Liston, member of the Oklahoma State University 1989 national champion livestock judging team, longtime ag teacher in Oklahoma, and perhaps the most gifted person to ever feed and fit show pigs. Bobby chaired the swine committee today.
Thank you, Mark. We only had 2 hog classes today, but I think they were 2 high quality classes for you to evaluate, and they were high quality and certainly I think they were good classes. I think they had a little bit of challenge to them, which I think is good, and I think the hog kids sorted it out, and you could kind of expose yourself if you've not been around hogs a lot on one of those classes. But we got a couple of guys here going to talk them for you. I just want to say that in the reason room, what we listened to today, I know it's the first contest. Everybody's kind of doing a little change and coming out of junior college into senior college, and you're going to be a little rougher, and that's fine. We were mainly listening for accuracy and if you hit the class. So right now, I know it's early, but certainly a good set of we heard a good set of reasons, I think, in the hog classes. One thing I want to clear up right quick. I know we're going to get through this. When I judge, a lot of people want to make bets and wagers. If I'm going to wear slacks, I'm going to wear jeans, I'm going to wear Crocs because I wear Crocs a lot. So today, all of you guys that bet and said that I didn't have Crocs on, well, go ahead and collect your money because I wear them all day, all the time. These are Crocs. They're just my dress Crocs. So you made some money today. First, I want to talk about Ray Bob Pell. He was on the committee today. I'd like to thank him. He brought all the kids that drove the hogs and led some cattle classes around. So we appreciate him. We got Maverick Squires that's on our committee today. Kingfisher, Oklahoma, swine producer, feed salesman, a very talented young man there that's judged a lot of major shows. Jared Halfin, Tuttle, Oklahoma, another swine producer, very successful here in Oklahoma as well. So they're going to talk these classes. I think we're going to start with Maverick, who's going to talk your Class 1 market hogs.
Thanks, Bob, and I really enjoyed being on the committee with Big Bob today and Jared and Mr. Pell. I had the fortune of listening to Junior College Reasons, and I did think in that class, Market Hogs 1 was also the class that I listened to Reasons on that I'm going to talk now. I think as you work through that class and you just kind of assess the market hogs that are there in there, listening to Reasons, I think it was pretty evident everybody felt like those hogs maybe weren't as hydrated, maybe weren't as well prepared, and from a skin and hair standpoint, like they had maybe just came out of a show ring. But at the same time, if you're a good livestock person, you can also probably realize some of those pigs did come out of a bear ring recently. And I picked up on that in Reasons, and that tells me that maybe you can kind of go along with some of the logic I think that I came to when I walked up on those. Was you're able to just judge the livestock and try to make them good. At least that's my perspective. And if you just start doing that, you break them down in order. I guess you see the one bear, very comfortable, very loose built, very athletic, heavy structured, balance and proportions fit together very well on that pig. As he comes and he goes, he's square. He's not the widest. He's not the boldest as you get right behind his shoulder, but he's adequate in terms of his body shape and his width. And again, he's proportional in those regards too. I think for me, I peek over the top of his blade and I'm like, if he had a little bigger back, that's a real good show pig. That's what I'm thinking to myself. So I roll into the next pig, number 2. That hog hit me as a comfortable, fairly loose built, short bodied, moderate, muscular bear that was opened up enough up high, but he was round in his rump from the side, a little more fragile in his bone work. He sure needed to have more forearm and blade shape. Not even in a comparison, just as an individual. Okay, so then you get to number 3. I didn't really look at number 3. I looked at his front end, never looked at him again. And that doesn't mean he's bad stock. I'm just saying in that class, you quickly identify that these guys brought you a pig to work with there. Okay, so that's what he's in here for. And I think as you work through a class that maybe has some challenge to it, you got to take what it gives you there and be appreciative. And then you look at the number 4 bear. Kind of unique, I think, at first when you see him. He's got some size and some scale. That's not a bad thing, that he's got some extension and he's up off the ground. Really big chested, bold about his forerib, and the spread to his top side is extremely good. He's very thorough in his width from the top of his blade to his pins. That hog's heavy enough structured. He is rigid on his rear feet. He wants to knuckle, and he's kind of short reaching, and his blade's not the furthest laid back either. But big pieces, that hog's stout, and he's pretty good looking, not moving. And you set him in motion, and yeah, it's not perfect, but it's not horrible. Okay, he's not winning any pig shows, but he's also one in there that you could work with in a class if you had to. So as you break them down, I know I talked about them in kind of length there, but I think as I listened to reasons, I heard a lot of busts in that class. And I think if you just walk up and you look at them and break them down for what they are and try to use the good livestock, you guys can see why we liked one on the committee. That was the heavy bone, comfortable, loose built, balanced one that just fit together good. Yeah, if you want to compare him to 4, his back is not as big. But at the same time, that animal's a lot better livestock than 4 is. So that's kind of how you can work through that particular pair, in our opinion. I'll get off real quick of the mic. I wanted to share. I guess the final placing, like Bob said, was 1, 4, 2, 3, or he'll reiterate again. Cuts 5, 2, and 6 in that class, and we listened. If you wanted to kind of flip those things around, we did listen. I scored them accordingly to your placing, but I would listen for your accuracy, and I tried to reward those kids that were accurate the best I could. I think, when I was judging market hogs for Mark, there's some of these classes like this sometimes that you'll see. I don't think you see them all the time, but I think you just kind of got to take what it gives you. And if there is a real good one in there, just because his back's not the biggest in the class doesn't mean you can't use him in a market hog setting. So I just share that with you. I don't think you'll always see that, but maybe that's why it presented challenge for you guys. I'm not sure, but anyhow, I really enjoyed it. I'll turn it over to Jared on your next class.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. The pig crew is a lot of fun to work with today. We only had 2 classes. Thanks, Mark, for having me out and getting to talk to him today and reconnect there was awesome. I just want to say I have a lot of respect for what you guys do, the work you put in. It takes a lot of mental focus and dedication to get up and go and get your butt beat and get back up and try to do it. So I commend you all for that because it's tough, but it'll teach you something and it'll better you as a young person, and it'll provide you for a more successful future. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm going to talk to Class 10, Market Hogs number 2. We thought that class had some gifts in there, and we thought there was some sort in some places. I was taught by a person that was very influential to me, when you have a gift, you better unwrap it. And some people did not do that today in this class. The number 2 hog is a gift. That one needs to win, okay? It is a market hog class. If you have market hog fundamentals at the forefront of your mind when you're judging this class and quality, that one sorts up and does it in a very, very quick fashion, at least for us on the committee today. You study his body cavity, it's genuine. You study him coming and going. He's consistent and square in his width from the top of his skeleton down to the ground. You get up on top of the livestock, and his edges are sharp. His texture's tight. He's a fresh animal that's heavy duty in his skeleton. I'm not calling him perfect pastern. I'm not calling him the soundest animal to ever walk the earth. But you guys got to recognize quality and value when it's there, and that one needs to win, and we cut you 7 if you did not do that. Okay, I listened to a lot of differences in that pair, and I listened to a lot of switches. And my advice to you, if you switch that pair, and I hope that you're open-minded when I say this, and you take it as a learning opportunity. You guys have got to be able to analyze livestock correctly and the differences between fill and good body shape, okay? A lot of you wanted to tell me that 4 was better bodied. He's not. He's just got a deeper belly. He was watered better this morning. Okay. Number 2 is genuine in his cavity. He's bold in his heart. He's got the right type of foundation, like you all want to say, to lay the right kind of shape, and that's why he does, okay? One thing that I will commend you on is the number 4 hog that we did put second. That hog is wide in his skeleton. He is the widest at the surface, especially leaving you. He's a big scaled hog who has a lot of pounds of carcass weight, and if you talk that was accurate. You did good there. He is a sharper looking pastern upgrade of the pair. But what he's not is he's not genuine. He's not heavy duty. He's not better built. I heard that a lot. That hog's tight-toed, small-footed, and fragile forearmed, okay? You guys have got to be able to differentiate it. Just because they're sharper looking doesn't mean they're better built, okay? From there, we thought that the bottom 3 had a lot of sword in them. We did keep number 4 second. We had number 1 and third. That hog does have some quality. If you get off to the side of him, he's got the ability to get up and go. He's got a loose, comfortable hind leg. He's fresh in the center part of his body. He is square at the top side of his skeleton as he goes away. One thing that we did not like about that particular animal is when he comes at you, he's wide in the base of his chest, but he's concave to the surface. He's the same way leaving you. He needs to be truer to the surface off of both ends of his build. And that's why the 4 hog, who's wider skeletoned, heavier in terms of his carcass weight, offers more market fundamentals, beats him in the middle pair. And we cut that 3 in the middle. The hog that rounds us out, that hog, I heard that hog described a lot of different ways as well. The way that I would describe him is he's a tall-statured hog who's late maturing. He's dense in his feature. He's good in his heel set. He's still a tall-shouldered hog that motors pretty well. I don't know. It depended on the round that you saw him in. He did get a little tighter there at the end. We need to see more internal body dimension in that animal. We need to see more true market hog shape going away, and that's why we let him be the 4th place today, and we cut you 2 on the bottom. So just to clarify, 2, 4, 1, 3 is the way we place that, and we cut it 7, 3, and 2. I listened to that hog set as well in the junior college division, and I thought, to be honest with you, that there was a lot of sword in that division in terms of quality of the sets that I heard and the accuracy that I heard. I gave 6 very good sets and very good scores today. On the 48s, I gave 3 of those. 2006-3, please stand if you're here. 2002-1. 2018-3, and on the 49s, I gave 3 of those as well. 2001-1, 2019-5, and 2021-3. Thought all those young people did a really, really good job. I heard some good sets. My hat's off to you. Thanks for having me.
With that, we will move into the cattle officials, and I'm going to introduce a couple people. We have 8 cattle officials, only 6 classes to give an official placing on. Harlan Yoakum from Sapulpa was a member of our committee today. Harlan ended up taking reasons on the senior college side. He's got a daughter showing a heifer, and he had to take off, but Harlan would have judged on the Oklahoma State University team, a reserve national champion team in 2004. One time held the Todashek graduate assistantship, helping with the team at OSU. Breeds some really good cattle, and his family shows some really good cattle. Harlan judges shows multi-species across the country. Not sure a lot of you recognize the name, but Harlan's not with us for the critique. Other member of the committee that is not talking a class, to my right over here, a young man, a gifted young stockman named Ryan Callahan from Edmond. Ryan was on the 2020 OSU Livestock team, top 10 in Louisville in cattle. Formerly had a lot of success in the bred and owned division through the years at the Angus Junior National. Would have won that show 2017, 2018, Ryan. 2017 had champion heifer at the NJAS. Currently in law school at a place south of here that shall remain nameless. and soon to join the workforce. So Ryan's not talking to class, but any of you need legal counsel at any point in the future, please remember Ryan Callahan whenever the time comes around. With that, our committee that is going to talk at cattle class, I'm going to start with the chair of our committee, Chad Holtkamp. Chad judges a lot of cattle shows nationally, breeds a lot of good cattle. Also, with Bobby Liston, was a member of that 1989 national champion team at OSU. He kind of held things together today, collected the cards and sorted through them. Chad, it's all yours.
Mark, thank you very much. And a lot of goes out to you for putting a heck of a contest as we talk about this being in recognition and honor of Gerald Callahan in terms of putting together. But I'll tell you, the cattle classes, I didn't look at the other species, but boy, them things were good. And I tell you, if you're not a lot of the other contests you get to, we had some high end stuff, and I thought it was way good, put together, well run, well organized. So you've got we appreciate what you did and that crew for putting it together. The committee I got to work with, boy, what a names and faces of folks that have had a lot of success, have done a lot of good. It was a good committee, and I tell you, being on different committees, we actually seen things, really well. Anytime you have a committee, you're going to have differences. You're going to go, but we got along good, and really enjoyed working with a group of people that we had, and hopefully made some sense to you. The other thing I just touch base a little bit, not go. You guys have all heard a lot about Gerald and some things that he has done from where he's at, but naming a judging contest after him, he absolutely positively believed in livestock judging. He judged junior college and senior college at Oklahoma State, coached at ADO, coached at OSU. He believed in what you're doing and the life skills that you will learn. And one of the things that I want to talk about life skills, you talk about having the ability, no matter what species you do, to be able to look at, evaluate, study, make up your own mind, not what somebody else says off a Photoshop picture that somebody's trying to tell you what's good, but actually look at them and study them and actually breed and make those decisions. And I do it in cattle because that's what I do. But he taught those values. The other side of Gerald, if you didn't know, and firsthand, Bob and myself got a witness, and everybody else that knows him, that dude was uber competitive. So if you're going to do something, you're going to compete. He pushed hard, demanded a lot, but he was a visionary person that was good for the whole. And I know talking to him one of the times, he was a little concerned that we'd lost a few senior college teams. Yes. But he really wanted to see it. So as this thing goes forward, no better way to represent what we did in the contest. I'm going to talk about the main end heifers, Class 8. I'll get through there real quick. I thought awesome class. I thought this is high quality Louisville type class. We had a really good one to go ahead and start with. I thought she was high quality. Pretty well everybody had done a really good job. But that one heifer, she was good. Tremendous quality, really good look, had some body, still got out and moved well. I thought she was pretty handy to go ahead and find, to be able to have a chance to actually get there and look and judge something like her. I thought she's really nice. Then we thought we had there where we end up in a committee standpoint, we had, we kind of end up where we called it a little bit closer to the middle, and we end up being 3/4. 3 was a little bit more moderate heifer, beautiful in terms of her pattern, really long fronted, flat about her shoulder. You guys seen and read that really well. Good in terms of body. Need a little bit more to her, and I think that's where the 4 heifer had a little advantage, a little more power, a little more weight per day of age. And some of that, a few years ago when we didn't have market steers getting upwards to 1,400 pounds, we probably could maybe give up a little bit more in terms of moderation and power. But as we're going to have these cattle get bigger, get heavier, I think we're going to have some emphasis on some cattle that have a little more punch, a little more do. So that was a little bit of question we had in there. But she's a really, her 4 heifer had a lot of stoutness and a lot of power. Got a little bit rounded in terms of her shoulder. I thought she's a little plainer headed, a little plainer necked, and almost like a little bit lower headed, even though where she's let out a little bit comparatively. But a good heifer. The 2 heifer, I liked a lot of you guys had talked about that. She's a little bit bigger frame, still had some length and extension, but probably not enough body, a little bit too hard doing. And I thought you guys did a really good job on that. So it was enjoyable. I listened to Junior College Reasons. I was absolutely blown away, impressed with that entire group of junior college kids. I thought that was real good. That's on 1342 placing was 7, 3, and 5.
Next up, an old friend of mine that we haven't used in contest in a while, but someone that I went to school with at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M close to 40 years ago, Mike Deathridge. Mike Deathridge would have judged at Oklahoma State. He would have been high individual in the Houston contest, has had a lot of success breeding and marketing cattle over the years. And Mike, we were fortunate, joined us today, came down, took reasons on the Hereford heifers in senior college, and he is going to critique that class for you.
Well, thank you, Mark. I just wanted to thank the Congress for having this outstanding contest, and thank the Buckholz family for endowing the funding for this contest. I wanted to thank the coaches too for putting in all your time and effort helping these contestants reach their goals, and also want to congratulate the contestants because you are the winners here. You all are working hard, trying to reach your goals, and if you just keep doing that, I know you'll all reach your goals. Wanted to just kind of go over the heifers a little bit. We thought this class kind of broke pretty easy into two pairs, the top and the bottom. Pretty good difference in the middle there, but we went ahead and used the number 3 heifer. We thought she was just a really nice, nicely balanced, high quality heifer. Really nice up through her front end, clean in her neck. But she also had a lot of spring to her rib, really big down her top, out through her rump. I guess if you could be kind of picky on a good one, you'd like to see her maybe have a little more depth of body. And that's probably where that number 2 heifer probably excels her. She's probably got a little more depth of body than the number 3, or than the number 3 heifer. In the middle pair, we sure thought the number 2 excelled the number 1 heifer. She was a lot nicer balanced kind of a heifer, just really high performing kind of a heifer, really level out through down through her top and out through her rump, really good in her pin set. So we thought she excelled the number 1 heifer pretty easily. Then in the bottom pair, we thought it was pretty close between these 2 heifers. They're both easy fleshing, kind of easy doing kind of a heifers. We just thought the number 1 heifer probably followed the pattern of the top 2. She's a little nicer balanced heifer. Also, she had a little more muscling out through her rump, down through her quarter. She moved a little better and stood a little better off her hind wheels. We thought the number 4 heifer, she's pretty easy fleshing kind of a heifer to go out and perform good. We just like to see her a little bit nicer balanced. Like to see her a little bit leveler and thicker out through her rump and quarter. Like her move a little better off her hind wheels. So we end up placing them 3, 2, 1, 4, and the cuts were 3, 7, and 2. Thank you.
With that, I'm going to move on to Brian Martin. Brian's from Hereford, Texas. Longtime friend of mine, used to host us for workouts, has had a tremendous amount of success breeding and marketing, and his family showing steers. Once upon a time, I used his son to have a champion steer that I think they did bred and owned at the Fort Worth Stock Show. He is going to talk Hereford steers with you. Brian, thanks for being with us.
Mark, thank you for inviting me. All of you kids, there's one thing. You keep going and trying your best. And one thing about it, this program right here helps you, your lifelong friends. You'll cherish them forever. And on top of that, the people you meet and that go on in life, it's going to be amazing. The people you're going to need later on the people all around you that get jobs, different jobs, and all that. It's what really counts in life. So just keep doing what you're doing and keep trying harder. So on that steer class, we placed him 2314 with a cut of 325. So we started with the number 2 calf. He was heavier muscled. Thought he was higher cut ability. He was bigger hip, bigger top, all that. Yes, he did not move as good as calf number 3. Number 3 was by far the best looking. He had plenty of muscle, but we cut him because the number 2 calf had more muscle. So then we go down to calf number 1. Obviously, he was big top, but he was plainer fronted, and just, I mean, his body was good, but he wasn't near as good as the calf before him. And obviously, number 4, and there's a lot of kids started with number 4. Don't know why, but that calf was very plain. I mean, plain muscled, flat, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I get it. There was a lot of kids all over the board on this whole class, and I don't blame some of them for starting with number 3. I mean, he was the soundest, but this is what our committee did, and that's how we went with it. There was a couple kids that nailed the class, got to the point. They got really, really good scores. They'll know who they are, but I mean, they were, like I said, got to the point. There was no fluff in between, and I was really proud of them boys. But thank you all for having me.
From there, what have we got left? We're going to move on to Angus bulls. I am going to introduce a gifted young stockman that once upon a time I worked really hard to bootleg out of the state of Michigan to get him to come to Oklahoma State University. A family that seldom rests, that has had a great deal of success in breeding exceptional Angus cattle. And because they had the champion Angus heifer the other day, he's still here. We're fortunate to get him on the committee. Andrew Foster took the Angus bulls in senior college. Thanks, Andrew.
Well, thank you, Mark. Once again, and to reiterate what everybody's always said, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm a firm believer in this program and the experience that all of you guys are going through. And thank your coaches and thank the people that are helping put these on, because it's not an easy task, and certainly it's certainly something that you guys take serious while you're doing it, and get the most out of it, because it is a great experience of a lifetime, and certainly don't waste that opportunity. I did have the privilege of taking the senior reasons in the Performance Angus Bulls, and thought that was a great class. And within that class and the scenario and how it breaks down, and basically what it comes down to is you're raising good cattle that have a balanced genetic profile, and that you're going to keep replacements, and then you place an emphasis on raising cattle that can meet certified Angus beef specs. And so when you read the scenario and take a look at the EPDs across the board, and with that CAB in there, a big driving force on a quality-based grid program is the marbling. And I think that those two bulls are exceptional within that pair when you start looking at them on paper and look at the marbling. And it's kind of a big flag for you guys to take a look at those two. They're both balanced, incredible across all, and there's some different talking points across their genetic profile, but that's a big thing to take note of. And within that pair and those bulls, and we do realize that at different points they were a little stubborn on the halter, and so there was a little give and take in listening to the reasons and everything on the movement among that top pair. They were a little stubborn, and sometimes some relaxed better than others. But within that pair, we did use the 2 bull. We thought that he was the more correct, the more complete bull. He was bigger bodied. He's better when you study him, even standing at the ground. He's more correct in his foot shape. He's more correct in the way he handles his pastern, and just probably better in his overall hind leg structure that way. And with that added body and smoothness, that's where we started. Now the 1 bull, and I do agree, he's the bigger bone, the stouter one. He is big hipped. He is long fronted. That bull, like I said, when you get him in motion, he's more upright on his pastern. He doesn't handle that near as well when he gets out and goes. He's a little off in his toes. A lot of people kind of said that maybe he wasn't as muscular down his top. He's bigger shouldered. He's big top, but he also is a little more open in his shoulder. He's not quite as smooth there behind his shoulder as our class winner is. And so, but that doesn't mean that he's devoid of muscle. And he is really long and extended. And I'd say across the board, you guys about split that 50-50. And that's fine. We only cut that pair with 3 points. But like I said, in those two bulls on paper, they stand out in that regard. From there on, the bottom pair, there's a pair of bulls. Neither one of them overwhelm you on paper. They're just kind of average. Three's got a couple talking points in terms of his growth, his weaning weight, and his yearling weight, and he is the high ribeye bull. But he also, in terms of movement and structure, he's way upright in his shoulder. He's open in his shoulder, and he doesn't get around and go quite as well. 4 is the more complete bull of the pair. He is the better looking one. He is better bodied. He is much sounder when you set him in motion. Now, granted, he is the lightest bone bull of the class and maybe not overwhelming in terms of stoutness in any one way, but we did go 4/3 just in terms of the longevity. Structure is always number one. I think that's how that pair has to go in terms of that. So we did go 2-1, 4-3 with cuts of 3, 6, and 5. Thank you again. Good luck to all of you through the rest of the season.
We're down to a couple classes, and the next one on our list is Class 9, the Maintainer Heifers. I'm going to introduce the 2020 National Champion Cattle Judge at Louisville, and a young man completing vet school right now and soon to be in practice, probably back in the Medill area, Will Shelby.
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you to the Cattlemen's crew, Cass, and all them for putting this contest on. A great contest, and I think, testing standpoint, a really big honor. Just the thought and efforts that have been put into it, and then of course, thank you to Mark. He was my coach, but also a really big mentor for me. I don't think we realize the amount of effort that goes into putting together the quality of classes we had today. I can think back in terms of my judging career as well as when I helped as an assistant coach. I don't know that I remember a contest that had the quality of cattle in those heifer classes we got to see, and you got to see it really in all 3 or 4 of them. So again, thank you, Mark, for putting together such a great contest today. I listened to the Junior College Hereford Heifers. I thought you guys did a nice job. I'll give you my high sets. 2001-6, 2019-1, 2019-5, 2001-2, and 2002-1. All those contestants either spoke 47s or 48s, but the big thing to me is presentation, I think, has to be a certain level, but more importantly, I really scored it mainly off accuracy. So if you're really accurate, and I thought saw the cattle well, you probably scored well. Probably a little lower if you weren't quite as accurate, but great job to all you guys. I'm going to talk Class 9 Maintainer Heifers. A really impressive and fun class for me to get to sort, I think, as a committee. I think we saw it all fairly similar, but again, a really high quality class, and I think there's lots of differences. We're going to go ahead and start with that number 4 heifer to your right. A really pretty, smooth-made heifer that I think is extremely elegant from the side. Really good and flexible in terms of her lower joints and her structure. A female that's really nice and just elegant and what I'd like to call proper, just really ladylike from the side. A female that I think starts the class and you can feel fairly comfortable doing that. If you were going to critique that heifer, she could probably be a little stronger in her top, but maybe more importantly, I think within the main or maintainer breed class, you could probably see that one just a little more power and overall dimension in her. I don't think she's devoid of muscle, but again, just in that breed, if you were going to change that one, you could probably see just a shot more punch and pin width when you step in behind the cattle, but still a really, really nice heifer in my opinion. Next, we go to that number 3 heifer. I know we didn't talk this class, but as we study that one and as I study her, I just thought a female that I think offers a lot of breeding potential and value. I think you can see a lot of show heifers and not see that massive of foot or bone on one that's still fairly good in terms of her lower joints and her angles and still fairly sharp looking from the side. Really big footed, really stout hipped, a heifer that I think offers a lot of quality and power. Comparatively to the one that starts the class, she could probably be a little coarser about her shoulder, probably not just quite as fluid or soft about her structure when she set the lead, but maybe more importantly, as an individual, a heifer that you'd probably see with just a shot more depth, or excuse me, you'd like to see with a shot more depth about her sweep and lower body, but still a really, really neat heifer that I think offers some really cool parts and pieces about her. So we went ahead and placed 3 in second, and we cut that 3. I think for me and as a committee also, the biggest quality gap really easily lies in middle. And we only cut that 4, but truthfully, I think you could cut it about as big as you want to. I don't think that it should be crossed too much. But as I walked up to the class, I probably sorted it 1, 2 pretty quickly as they're standing still. When he set those heifers in motion, I think that pair gets a little bit closer. As an individual, one's not an awesome heifer to look at. She's probably a little shorter coupled, a little rounder hipped, and for lack of better terms, gets pretty hook legged. But to me, compared to that 2 heifer, she's one that's a little neater about her head, her throat, and her neck. A female that has a little more softness and depth about her body and flank. That 2 heifer is one you appreciate for having some extra power, really big hip, stout made heifer. Appreciate those things about her. But from a look standpoint, that thing gets just not quite as impressive or fun to look at as some of the ones we've seen throughout the day. Pretty ugly about her head, her throat, coarse and open about her shoulder. You sat her in the lead and it kind of matches, just fairly rigid, and just not quite as good about her structure and functionality as what you'd like to see. But an awesome class. Again, we went ahead and placed them 4, 3, 1, 2, and cut it 3, 4, 3. Thank you guys and good luck today.
Got one class left. It's our performance Simmental bull class, and another distinguished member of the cattle committee today is Dr. Randy Perry. Randy has also judged a lot of shows around the country, longtime department chair at Cal State Fresno, retired recently and moved to Oklahoma. Fortunate to have him with us. Dr. Perry, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mark. It's my pleasure and honor to be part of this committee. Really enjoyed it today, and I'd echo the same comments that you've heard. You know, I believe strongly in the value of livestock judging. I know it's done a bunch for me personally, and encourage you folks and just applaud the coaches and you folks for participating in the activity. So the Simmental performance bulls, when you look at the data on those bulls, basically, you know, you're using them on mature cows so we could throw away birth weight and basically a maternal deal and selling steers at weaning. So basically you had to look at the rest of it. When you looked at the data, then there was one of those bulls that kind of sorted himself out pretty easy, and that was the one bull. Gave up quite a bit of performance. He was a low birth weight bull, but didn't mean anything in this scenario. But he gave up quite a bit of performance. And then when you looked at that bull phenotypically, you know, he was a bull that had some balance and had smoothness and some look to him, but he's a bull that gave up quite a bit in terms of volume and dimension and power. So he was a bull that we thought sorted himself to the bottom of the class pretty easily. When you looked at the data on the other 3 bulls, there really wasn't any difference of any significance. But when you look at the bulls phenotypically, then there was one of those bulls that just kind of outmassed and outpowered the other bulls, and that was the 4 bull. Bull that had some straightness of lines and he had some balance, but he had a lot of power. He was a bull that had some, you know, he was easily the biggest bodied, the biggest hipped kind of bull. A bull that just kind of outmassed the other ones. That left you with a pair of bulls, 2 and 3. They were both unclipped. When you first looked at those bulls, they really looked kind of tough from a balance standpoint. But when you tried to look through the hair, then, you know, they were bulls that really had some quality to them, although they may not appear to have much quality when you first looked at them. We saw the 2 bulls, probably a bull that had a little more balance, he had a little more power, and he had a little more body of the pair. He was a bull, when you looked at him up front, that bull could really, I mean, at times you looked at him and those front legs kind of came out of the same hole and really kind of towed out up front. 3 bull gave up a little power to that bull. He may have been a little better in the way he was made structure-wise, but he was a bull that kind of got under himself quite a bit when he got out on the move. So we ended up with a placing on that class of 4, 2, 3, and 1, with cuts of 8, 2, and 5. My reasons were really good. I'd like to mention 4 contestant numbers. Those were 1007-6, 1005-2, 1005-4, and 1017-5. Thank you very much.
With that, I know Cass is going to come up here and give instructions how to work through and grab some supper. And as soon as we get that done, we're going to move into the awards presentation. But I want to take a minute to thank Cass Newell. I have done some to help with this contest, but I would say 90% of the effort, the planning, the reason it is ran so smooth, the reason that we're having a critique, and I don't think it's much past 5 in the afternoon, is the well-oiled machine that Cass turned this into, and a lot of effort behind the scenes, and hasn't been mentioned a lot today. But Cass, I sincerely appreciate, and we owe Cass a round of applause for all she's done. With that, and she just took a phone call, but I'm going to hand the microphone over to Cass. She's going to walk you through instructions on how to work your way back here and grab some food. And once that concludes, we'll be ready to roll. Does anybody here have less than a 10-point drop? Show your hand. Okay, no further questions. Here's Cass.
All right, guys. So that was Morgan, and looks like we're getting close on results. But we have ribeye steak sandwiches and chips in the back room. There's water right back here at the back. If we run out, we'll grab more. There's going to be barbecue sauce on that table back there. But if we could just have one representative from every team follow me to the back, we'll send all of your food back with one of your team members. So coaches, send one person with me, and we'll go grab food and come back out.
If you're from Fort Hayes or CSU, I have your dinner here. So just come to the front by the awards table. If anybody did not eat, there's a bag of extras up here by the awards table.
We're getting close, guys. I was just going to let you know there's some programs up here at the front if you guys want to use them to ride in. They're right here on these chairs at the front. If everyone wants to grab one per team. All right, we're getting really close to starting, but I just wanted to say a couple thank yous. The meal that was served tonight, the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Foundation donated some money towards that. And then Farm Credit of Western Oklahoma with Brian McIntyre. He's a livestock judging alumni from Oklahoma State, but they cooked that meal for us today, and we're certainly very gracious for them. So let's give them a round of applause for helping us out tonight. Additionally, I'd like to thank a few people that just helped me. Obviously, Mark it has been a tremendous asset this year for the contest. As far as classes go, in the back of your packet there's a large thank you list of people who donated heifers or bulls or classes, whatever it may be, and then another list of them that sponsored the contest today. But Blake Gauze really helped me on the hog classes, and Darren Anashot helped by going to pick up sheep at Elk City, bringing them back, and just coordinate a lot of things. Cooper Newcomb and Ty Allen helped me get those market lambs here. So we're really thankful for all of them. Let's give them a big round of applause on helping me out. And Mark, I mentioned him earlier, but he's been here for a good number of days trying to wrap up those cattle classes for us, and they turned out excellent. So give him a big round of applause on all of his hard work for this contest this year. Tyler mentioned earlier too about the contest being named in Gerald Callahan's name and GKB and all that they're donating going to endow this contest for future years. So we'd certainly like to thank them one more time. Dr. Morgan Piper's over here, my sister-in-law. She tabulated the contest for us today, and it's her birthday. So let's give her a big round of applause for all of her work today. When we get started up here today, we're gonna announce a top 10. We'll have ribbons for the top 5 individuals, along with some other stuff. So, just as a note, as we get started, I'm gonna hand it over to Dr. Mark Johnson. Let's give him one more big round of applause as I hand it over to him.
Folks, we're ready to move into the results. And we're going to start in the swine division with junior college individuals. We are going to recognize the top 10, and we have awards for the top 5. So 6 through 10, just if you would please stand. And as we get into the top 5 individuals, we'd like you to come forward, and Cass has got awards for you. Cass, will there be pictures taken at the end? We have backdrop. Okay. And we would like a team picture in each division as well as overall team. So starting in swine, had a two-way tie for 10th between Caden Schwab from Connors, a score of 192, and Jack Habian from Redlands Community College. 9th high individual, and I apologize if I butcher some of these names. Malaya Crisp, Connor State. Ninth high individual, also score of 192. Eighth high individual, Gracie Cloud from Blackhawk East, the score of 193. Seventh high individual, Greta Rosenhagen from Fort Scott Community College, score of 194. Our sixth high individual from Clarendon College, Tyler Martin, also with a score of 194. And moving into the top five, if you would please come forward. From Casper College, our fifth high individual with a score of 194 is Robert Coma. Fourth high individual, also at 194, Preston Road from Blackhawk East. Third high individual, Garrison Bass from Redlands Community College, also at 194. Our second high individual from South Plains College, also at a score of 194, Dakota David. And our high individual in swine, 1 point higher at 195 from Blackhawk East, Joan Ayers. This event is being live streamed on Live Auctions TV. Okay, high teams in swine junior college. Our fifth high team is Clarendon with a score of 921. Our fourth high team with a score of 935 is Fort Scott Community College. Third high team with a score of 947, Redlands Community College. 7 points higher at 954. Our second high team in swine judging is South Plains. We do have an award if we could get a representative from South Plains. And our high team in swine at a score of 955. Team consisting of Joan Ayers, Preston Road, or Rhodey, Gracie Cloud, Josie Doshier, Jack Johnson, Emma Jackson, the team from Blackhawk East. If they would please come forward for the High Team Award. Yeah, please give them a round of applause. Our senior college top 10 in swine, our 10th high individual from Western Illinois University, Kobe Fry, score of 1. Our 9th high individual, Cade Dupin from Texas Tech University. Our 8th high individual, Chevy Vasky from Kansas State University. 7th high individual, Maggie McStay from Western Illinois University at a score of 193. 6th high individual, also at 193 from the University of Nebraska, Jaylee Pope. And our top 5 high individuals in swine, senior college, if you would please make your way forward for awards. 5th high individual, Owen Rosenboom from the University of Minnesota. Our 4th high individual, From Texas A&M University at a score of 193, Tate Hogan. Also at 193 from Oklahoma State University, Jed Sidwell, third high individual. At 193, and also from Oklahoma State University, our second high individual in swine judging, Braylon Spears. And our high individual in swine, 1 point higher at 194, from Oklahoma State University, Cale Campbell. High senior college teams in swine judging at a score of 940, Texas A&M. Fourth high team in swine judging, 941 score, Western Illinois University. Our third high team in swine, Texas Tech University, also at a score of 941. Second high team, if we would please get a representative, Kansas State University at a score of 942. Feel free to clap. "13 points higher at a score of 955, our high team in swine judging, Oklahoma State University. Team members Cale Campbell, Braylon Spears, Jed Sidwell, Anna Hannon, Clay Burt, and Ashlyn O'Brien. Moving into the junior college sheep and goat division, anti-individual with a score of 280 from Butler Community College, Colton Lake. Our ninth high individual with a score of 281 from Blinn College, Dax Delzier. Eighth high individual, Malaya Crisp from Connors State College at a score of 282. Seventh high individual from Blinn College, Kinsey Gardner at a score of 282. The score of 284 in sixth place from Connors State College, Cade Haggard. And our top forward for awards, the score of 285 from South Plains College, Lexi Hunt. At a score of 280 from Northeastern Junior College, Kellum Carnahan. Our third high individual from South Plains College at a score of 287, Ashton Willis. 3 points higher at a score of 290 from Blinn College, Devin Gaff is our second high individual. And our high individual in the sheep and goat division, score of 291, Luke Rodabaugh. High teams in sheep and goats junior college division. In fifth place with a score of 1359, Redlands Community College. Our fourth high team at a score of 1361, Casper College. Our third high team at a score of 1364, Butler Community College. And our second high team at a score of 1379. Could we get a representative from South Plains College? Our high team at a score of 1384. Blinn College, team members Devin Gaff, Kinsey Gardner, Dax Delzier, Weston Hens, Blaine Warnken, and Samuel Belt. Senior College Division, high individuals in sheep and goats. Score of 281 in 10th place, Nick Deppy from Iowa State University. Our 9th high individual from Auburn University, Cassidy Fielder, at a score of 282. 8th high individual from Texas A&M University, also at a score of 282, Gunnar Coburn. 7th high individual at a score of 283, Emma Richards from the University of Arkansas. 6th high individual from Oklahoma State University at a score of 284, Ashlyn O'Brien. Our 5th high individual, Cooper. 4th high individual, Zane Redifer from Kansas State University. Score of 286. 3rd high individual from Texas A&M University at a score of 287. There was a two-way tie for second place at 287. Finishing in 3rd, Tate Hogan. Second high individual from Texas Tech University, Owen Brinker. And our high individual in sheep and goats senior college at a score of 288 from Western Illinois University, Ross Brumbaugh. Top 5 teams in senior college sheep and goat division. Score of 1359, The Ohio State University. 4th high team at a score of 1377, Kansas State University. At 1381, our 3rd high team is Oklahoma State University. At a score of 1387, our 2nd high team is Western Illinois University. We do need a representative from Western Illinois. Our high team in sheep and goats, score of 1403, Texas A&M University. Team consisting of Tate Hogan, Cooper Thompson, Gunnar Coburn, Taylor Turner, Connor Knudsen, and Blake Peterson. Moving into our cattle division, high individuals in the junior college. 10th high individual with a score of 476 from Butler County, Brady Midcap. Score of 477 from Blinn College, Kinsey Gardner. Our 8th high individual at a score of 477 from Redlands Community College, Blake Jansen. 7th high individual, Emma Jackson from Blackhawk East with a score of 478. 6th high individual, also at 478 from Blackhawk East, Josie Doshier. Our 5th high individual, also at 478, and there was a three-way tie for 5th from Butler Community College, Reed Hedrick. Was a two-way tie for 3rd, finishing 4th at a score of 480 from Redlands Community College, Cheyenne Emerson. And our 3rd high individual, same score from Blackhawk East, Preston Road. Second high individual in cattle, a score of 481 from Blackhawk East, Johnwyn Ayers. And our high individual in cattle judging in the junior college division at a score of 485 from Redlands Community College, Mason Allen. Congratulations to those high individuals in cattle judging. Also, Mason, don't go too far. We want to recognize our high individual in cattle reasons at 192 on 4 sets from Redlands, Mason Allen. Our high teams overall in the cattle division junior college, 5th high team, Lakeland College with a score of 23-21. Our 4th high team at 23-44, Butler Community College. 3rd high team at 23-54, Blinn College. 2nd high team at 23-76. Could we get a representative from Redlands Community College? And our high team in cattle judging with a score of 23-88. From Blackhawk East, the team consisting of Johnwyn Ayers, Preston Road, Josie Doshier, Emma Jackson, Gracie Cloud, and Jack Johnson. Congratulations to that high team in cattle. Feel free to clap. Moving into the senior college cattle division, high individuals overall. Finishing in 10th from Kansas State University with a score of 469, Chevy Vasky. 9th high individual at 470 from the University of Arkansas, Kelly Duggins. 8th high individual, Ashlyn Robinson from the University of Nebraska with a score of 471. It was a two-way tie for 8th, finishing 7th. Same score from Texas A&M University, Gunnar Coburn. Our 6th high individual from Kansas State University, score of 472, Ty Noddle. And our 5th high individual, if you would make your way forward from Texas Tech University, score 476, Bryn Edwards. Fourth high individual at 477 from Texas A&M University, Blake Peterson. From Western Illinois University, our 3rd high individual with a score of 479, Ross Brumbaugh. At a score of 480 from Oklahoma State University, our 2nd high individual is Ashlyn O'Brien. And our high individual in cattle judging, finishing with a score of 481 from Kansas State University, Jacob Clout. And we want to recognize our senior college high individual in cattle reasons at a 186 total, Ross Brumbaugh from Western Illinois. High teams in senior college cattle judging, finishing 5th with a score of 2286, Texas Tech University. Fourth high team at 2306, Texas A&M University. At 2334, our 3rd high team in cattle judging is Western Illinois University. 2nd high team, if we could get a representative from Oklahoma State University, their score 2335. And our high team in cattle judging with a score of 2341, team consisting of Jacob Clout, Ty Noddle, Chevy Vasky, Cole Murphy, Zane Redifer, and Olivia Gerloff, Kansas State University. Moving into the oral reasons division, a very tight competition on the junior college side. Ties from 2nd high individual in reasons to 6th. Ties in 7th and 8th, and only a 5-point spread in our top 10. Finishing 10th from Blackhawk East, Josie Doshier. A total of 369. 9th high individual in reasons from Redlands Community College, 370 total, Garrison Bass. 8th high individual in reasons at 371 from Blackhawk East, Preston Rody. I'm spitballing if I've been pronouncing that correct all night, but Rhodey? Yes, thank you. Thank you for your patience with me. Seventh high individual, also at a total of 371. Gracie Cloud from Blackhawk East. Sixth high individual, and in the five-way tie for second at a total of 372, Johnwyn Ayers from Blackhawk East. And our top five, also at 372 from Blinn College, Kinsey Gardner. Our fourth high individual from South Plains College, same score of 372, Lexi Hunt. Third high individual, same score, Redlands Community College, Mason Allen. And winning the tiebreaker, second high individual in reasons from Butler Community College, Reed Hedrick. 2 points higher, at 374 from Redlands Community College, Blake Jansen. High teams and reasons, junior college division, 1799 is the score of our fifth high team from South Plains College. Fourth high team with a score of 1807, Blinn College. Third high team at 1814, Butler Community College. Our second high team in reasons, pretty healthy bump to 1846, the team from Redlands Community College. And our high team in reasons, 6 points higher, team consisting of Johnwyn Ayers, Gracie Cloud, Preston Rhodey, Josie Doshier, Emma Jackson, and Jack Johnson, Blackhawk East. Congratulations to our high team in reasons, junior college division. Moving into individuals in senior college, also pretty tight margin, 7-point spread, several ties along the way, and finishing 10th from Texas Tech University with a score of 362, Bryn Edwards. Our ninth high individual at 363 from Texas A&M University, Blake Peterson. Three-way tie for sixth and finishing in eighth place from Oklahoma State University, Braylon Spears. Also at a score of 364, finishing seventh from Oklahoma State University, Cale Campbell. And winning the tiebreak, finishing sixth, same score from Kansas State University, Olivia Gerlach. Our top five, Gunnar Coburn from Texas A&M University at a score of 365. And we've got a three-way tie for third place, actually. Same reason score. And from Oklahoma State University, our fourth high individual in reasons is Ashlyn O'Brien. Our third high individual in reasons, Oklahoma State University's Anna Hannon. with a score of 365. At 367, our second high individual in reasons, Jacob Clout from Kansas State University. And our high individual in reasons at 369 from Western Illinois University, Ross Brumbaugh. Congratulations to those high individuals in reasons. Moving into the senior college team division in reasons, in fifth place at 1795, Western Illinois University. Our fourth high team with a score of 1797, Texas Tech University. Third high team, score of 1799, Texas A&M University. 13-point jump to a score of 1812, our second high team in reasons, the team from Kansas State University. And our high team in reasons, if they would make their way forward, the team consisting of Anna Hannon, Ashlyn O'Brien, Cale Campbell, Braylon Spears, Jed Sidwell, and Clay Brillhart, with a score of 1819, Oklahoma State University. Moving into our top 10 high individuals overall in the junior college division, and we would like all 10 members of our top 10 to make their way forward, finishing 10th with a score of 938. Pretty healthy score for 10th place. Gracie Cloud from Blackhawk East. Finishing 9th and winning a tiebreak, also with a score of 938 from Blackhawk East, Preston Rohde. In 8th overall, Emma Jackson from Blackhawk East with a score of 939. At 940, our 7th high individual from South Plains College, Lexi Hunt. Two points higher at 942 from Redlands Community College, Blake Jansen. 5th high individual overall, and a two-way tie for 4th from Blinn College at a score of 943, Dax Delzier. Winning that tiebreaker, also at 943 from Blinn College, Devin Gaff. Two-way tie for second high individual overall at 946 from Connors State University, finishing 3rd, Malaya Crisp. Also with a score of 946 and winning the tiebreaker, Kinsey Gardner from Blinn College. And our high individual, Pretty good jump to 9:53 from Blackhawk East, Johnwyn Ayers. Let's give a round of applause to the top 10 individuals overall. We're going to call our top 6 teams. Okay, in 6th place in the junior college division overall with a score of 45-65, Connors State College. Our 5th high team at 45-95, Butler Community College. 4th high team overall at 46-03, South Plains College. 3rd high team overall at 46-28, Blinn College. Our 2nd high team at a score of 46-60, Redlands Community College. I want to read you the members of that reserve champion team. Blake Jansen, Mason Allen, Cheyenne Emerson, Garrison Bass, Jack Habian, and Connor Pell. And our high team overall junior college division, winning by a smooth 40-point margin with a team total of 4,700 points if the team from Blackhawk East would make their way forward. Team coached by the team consisting of Johnwyn Ayers, Emma Jackson, Preston Rohde, Gracie Cloud, Josie Doshier, and Jack Johnson. Coached by Blake Bloomberg. Congratulations to our high team overall. As we get a picture, let's give them a big hearty round of applause. Moving into our top 10 high individuals overall senior college division. Again, some ties along the way, and a tie for 9th at a score of 931 and finishing as 10th high individual from Texas A&M University, Tate Hogan. Tate, could you make your way forward? There we go. In 9th, from Kansas State University, winning the tiebreaker at 931, Ty Noddle. Three points higher at 934, our 8th high individuals from Western Illinois University, Kobe Fry. Seventh high individual at 938, also from Western Illinois University, Maggie McStay. A two-way tie for fifth high individual. Finishing in sixth at 9:39, Jed Sidwell from Oklahoma State University. Winning the tiebreaker and finishing fifth high individual, Braylon Spears from Oklahoma State University. Our fourth high individual, score of 942 from Oklahoma State University, Ashlyn O'Brien. Our third high individual, score of 944, Gunnar Coburn from Texas A&M University. Two points higher at 946 from Kansas State University. Our second high individual is Jacob Clout. And our high individual at a score of 949 from Western Illinois University. Congratulations to Ross Brumbaugh. Congratulations to our top 10 high individuals. And as we move into the high teams overall, the senior college division, in a pretty tightly contested contest, it looks like we've got an 11-point spread from fifth high team to first high team. I appreciate all of you attending this contest, and I wish all of you the best on your travels and competition for the year to come. We really appreciate you making your way to the Cattlemen's Congress. Our fifth high team, score of 45-41, the team from Texas Tech University. Our fourth high team, score of 46-38, team from Kansas State University. Six points higher at 46-44. Our third high team is the team from Texas A&M University. Second high team, 5 points higher, score of 46-49, Western Illinois University. Team consisting of Ross Brumbaugh, Maggie McStay, Kobe Fry, Grace Angotti, Colton Russell, and Cole Webster. The team would make their way forward. And winning by 3 points with a team score of 46-52. If the team and coach from Oklahoma State University would make their way forward, congratulations to the team coached by Parker Henley and consisting of Ashlyn O'Brien, Braylon Spears, Jed Sidwell, Cale Campbell, Anna Hannon, and Clay Brillhart. Congratulations to all the teams and individuals that earned recognition. Again, we sincerely appreciate you joining us for the Cattlemen's Congress contest. We ask those high teams, make your way to the backdrop for photos. We look forward to seeing you next year, and be safe in your travels.